Hey everybody, my name is Brandon from thestockstudents.com, and today I want to talk about Rocket Company's stock, ticker symbol RKT. What I want to do first is I want to go into Google and talk about how the stock gained over 100% in just a single week, probably with a little help from Reddit, but then dropped 30% the day after. And then I want to go into the earnings report to talk about the surprisingly okay fundamentals of Rocket stock. And then I want to go into the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy Rocket Mortgage if we want to buy Rocket Mortgage. So now let's get started. So here we are in Google, and here's a 5-day look at Rocket Company stock, also known as Rocket Mortgage. As you can see here, in about a week, we climbed over 100%, but then we hit a top, and then we dropped around 30% here. So of course, the main reason why we're talking about Rocket Mortgage is because of the momentum that we are seeing, which is seemingly sparked by the WallStreetBets crowd if we take a look at some of the articles down here. We see that Rocket was found to have about a 40% short interest in the stock, which is pretty high. We also see that at $30, the dollar amount for the share price is not that expensive compared to something like an Apple or Amazon, which gives the psychological appearance that the stock is cheap, even though in actuality, the dollar amount of a stock doesn't really matter. I think these two characteristics are the main things that increase the probability of Rocket being chosen for Reddit's next play. And honestly, this is the main short-term bull case for Rocket at the moment. There is absolutely no denying the fact that the movement of the crowd is a powerful force. However, as I've said before, you have to keep in mind that the crowd is powerful only because it is a group of people running towards the same iron door on the same castle. If the crowd runs as a group into the iron door, then the iron door will probably pop open. However, if the crowd starts running towards other castles or stops running entirely, I would stop running as well. I, for one, do not want to be the only one running full speed into an iron door. My shoulders are not that big and they will likely be disintegrated on impact. With all that being said, the main question should be, is the run in Rocket Mortgage over? Well, the answer is nobody knows for sure because nobody can predict the future. However, what we can do is that we can draw some comparisons from the past here. If we remember what happened to Sundial Growers Company, we see that we had a few days of high Reddit activity before news stations like CNBC caught on and began covering the story. But soon after CNBC opened the story up, we went down as fast as we went up, and we only made one top. However, when we compare stocks like AMC or GameStop, we had multiple tops. It's up to you to decide which category Rocket's future fits into. And honestly, your guess is as good as mine. But you have to consider both of these scenarios if you want to play the game solely on momentum. Understanding the past of what has happened to these Reddit stocks will likely give you a better idea and hopefully a better guess at how Rocket stock will do. So you guys may be able to tell by now, I am a short-term trader as well as a long-term investor. So to me, I pay attention to both the momentum and the fundamentals when I decide to risk my money. Honestly, the fundamentals of Rocket companies look actually pretty good. So, with that said, let's talk more about the fundamentals of Rocket companies by heading over to the earnings report. So here we are in Rocket Company's earnings report, and just quickly so that we're all on the same page, Rocket Company's main business is loan refinancing as well as mortgage origination, more so on the loan refinancing. What this means is that this company is highly levered to interest rates and likely has a huge negative correlation to interest rates. Basically what that means is that as interest rates go up, Rocket's business could go down because people don't want to refinance their loans or buy houses at a higher interest rate. Normally, people want to save money on their mortgages or loans, so people refinance or buy houses when the interest rates are lower. This could be problematic for Rocket companies in the near future, as there is currently a lot of talk on interest rates moving higher. So this is not really the end of the world stuff here, because honestly I think interest rates are still pretty low, but this is just something you have to consider in your fundamental and macro analysis of Rocket before you invest. So after saying all that, when we look at Rocket's earnings report here, because they have a lot of businesses going on, they have a lot of itemized stuff in the earnings report. So let's just look at the big picture here for the revenues, which is this whole block here. And if we look at the total revenues here, we see that year over year, this is a fantastic growth of about 143%. That is extraordinary growth, which was likely helped by interest rates still being pretty low and a lot of demand for buying houses and refinancing. But that isn't even the exciting part for me here. If we look at the expenses, which is this block on the earnings report here, and if we look at total expenses, we see that yes, total expenses are climbing year over year as well, but the increase in expenses are not more than 143%. So because the money we are gaining from our revenues is increasing 143% year over year, but our expenses are not increasing as much as our revenues, what that means is that we should be able to capture a lot more of this total revenues here in our net income. And if we look, we see that year over year, we are growing net income by about 276%. Now, that said, Rocket does not get to keep all this juicy net income here. If we look at the next line of the earnings report, we see that net income attributable to non-controlling interest. So I've done some research because I wasn't exactly sure what it means, and I still don't exactly know what it means, but I believe that this money is going to a third party that is a stakeholder in Rocket, but it does not have voting power in the company. What Rocket is really seeing here is this line here, the net income attributable to Rocket companies. And we can see that they are capturing about 140 million United States dollars. So fundamentally, there are a lot of things to like about Rocket companies right now. But again, you have to be aware that rising interest rates could be a factor to Rocket's business. You also have to be aware that the stock has run up a lot in the past few days. So it is probably very expensive compared to where it has been in the past. Because of the introduction of the Reddit crowd, you may see a lot of volatility. So with all of that being said, let's head on over to the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy Rocket if we want to buy Rocket. So here we are in Rocket Company's trading charts, and we can see that the past couple of days have had massive volatility. These are massive candles. So as always, let's try to find some support levels first. And the first support level that I'm seeing is this one around the $24 to $23 level here, made by these candles, the tops of these candles, as well as these candles over here. We can see that Rocket companies really tested this $23 to $24 support level numerous times. We tested it over here, over here, over here, and over here, and all of those times we got rejected before breaking through a couple days ago with conviction. So previous resistance levels now act as support levels because these are places where the number of buyers match the number of sellers. What could happen here is that we hit this support level and then bounce right back up from it, and that will make a double top like we did in GameStop and AMC. That said, these are huge, massive candles here, and what that's telling me is that Rocket has the momentum of a freight train right now. Because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if these levels get shattered to the downside if we do have a lot of downward momentum. These are both scenarios that you have to be considering if you want to be a short-term trader to ride the momentum in Rocket companies. If you are long in Rocket companies and you want to find a place to get in the name because of the fundamentals, then the first place where I will look to pick up the stock is this support level down here around the $19 to $20 level here. We see that this has acted as strong support numerous times. It supported the stock over here, these candles over here, and over here. I also want to draw attention to the 50-day moving average, which is this blue line here if I zoom in. This blue line here will also act as support on the way down. So because Rocket has a bunch of momentum right now, I would not be surprised if it overshoots this $23, $24 support level or this $20 support level here. I think if it overshoots to the downside below the $20 support level, then that would be an opportunity to get in if I wanted to get into Rocket Mortgage. Just to take a look at the other major indicators here, we obviously have a very positive MACD because that is a measure of momentum. We see that the blue line here, which is a measure of short-term momentum, is extremely higher than the momentum that we are normally seeing, which is the orange line here. We also take a look at the RSI. We see that we were overbought but then corrected back downwards. Again, if you want to invest in Rocket companies, you have to understand that there will be a lot of volatility in the next few days. So if you want to invest in Rocket Mortgage, if you want to trade it, you have to be willing to stomach the volatility to the upside as well as to the downside. So that was my review on Rocket companies. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you have any questions or if you caught any mistakes, also drop me a comment down below. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching and I hope you have a great day.